and welcome back to another video. We're nearing the end. We can start seeing the end. We've been digging for a while. We've had more breakdowns. If I would keep the camera rolling and film all the breakdowns, that's probably all you would get. It's been non-stop breakdowns. The amount of bearings that I have fixed on this digger just the past 2 weeks alone, I mean, we've only been digging the past 2 weeks, it's been ridiculous. I fixed another 3 bearings today morning, and I think that brings my total up to 9 bearings. I'm pretty sure I have put a new bearing on every single one on the bottom, that is. The ones on the top, they never break. They feel like they can go years without breaking. But there's 8 bearings in total on the bottom row, and I'm pretty sure I've replaced every single one of them. If not every single one of them, then a couple of them twice. So it just goes to show you that even if we would have put brand new bearings at the start of the season, it wouldn't have helped anything because they would have gone out anyway. Because there's some of the bearings, one of them I know for sure I replaced earlier this year or last week sometime, and it now went out again. I have like 7-8 days later. So they're not lasting. I don't know what's with it. That digger is completely fine. That digger hasn't had a single bearing out. I mean, he's ripped 2 sets of chains. I've only ripped 1 set of chains. My chains have hopped off twice, but I've had all the bearing issues, and he's had none. Not a single one. So I don't know what's with that. Also, last night we were running pretty late. We ended up getting through a little rocky patch on this field. I did end up breaking a blade. Found the blade. It was completely buried underneath the ground. We had bolts. Luckily, we had bolts with in the tractor. Put new bolts on. I was able to go again. And then an hour later, a different blade ended up breaking off, bending like crazy. So we had to call it quits for the day. Today morning, I slapped a new blade on it. Now we're good to go again. New blades are definitely going to go on these diggers next year, but the rocks, it was inevitable. I assumed it would happen. I thought we would be breaking more blades than what we did, but so far only 2, and I think we're through all the rocky stuff. So, not smooth sailing, but kind of smooth sailing. We're rolling. That's the main part right now. We're rolling again. We are on one of the fields that we planted on flat cover, or no, it was not cover ground. It was essentially fallow ground. We didn't do anything with the land last year. We just kept the weeds down. It was flat ground. We had harvested wheat on this field the previous year, and we had just left it weed stubble. We planted right into weed stubble. It's working just fine. I know some people are always worried about the stubble clogging the digger, you know, in between each unit, clogging it all up there and just pushing dirt, but we don't have any of that issue. It flows through there nicely. The only issue there is when we get to the rocky areas, now that it's flat, now those chains are actually sitting a lot lower to the ground. When we have bed, there's that valley kind of in the middle, and all those rocks can flow down there and go behind the digger, and they don't just roll here by the chains. So we had to be a little bit careful. When there were big rocks, we had to stop the tractor, take the rocks out of the way, or else we'd be bending bars and breaking chains and whatnot. So we did have to be a little mindful of that. But other than that, flat ground works just fine. We're in a little bit of a drier area right here. Even with that, it still works just fine. Like, it's actually flipping over really, really good. I'm shocked. I mean, I knew it was gonna work good, but I'm shocked that it's flipping over as good as what it is, because it is a little bit skippy, but it's working really good. The pivot did also end on this field, but this end of the field is drier than that end. That end was a little bit wet. We ran into a couple of wet spots, but it was not the worst. It was fine. But plan is finish this field. We're almost done here. This is a full section. We're doing half of it, so we're doing 250 acres over here that's irrigated. We're doing the last, I think there's 2 more layers after this one. And then we got 120 acres, a 20-acre field, and a 40-acre field. And I'm pretty sure we can get all of it done by tomorrow. Today we're gonna once this one's done, we're gonna knock out the 40-acre field. And then we're most likely going to dig the 20 acre, but the 20 acre is kind of planted flat across the 120 acre field, so we might dig it just together, just to go right across both fields. We haven't gotten to there yet, so we're not quite sure what we want to do there, but we'll do that 40 acre field first. The rest of this here is all planted and flat, so we'll see how the rest of it goes, if we have any issues. But so far it's been working fine. If I could, I would actually love to plant everything flat next year with a little bit of wheat stubble or something on the field. That way the wind and the sand doesn't blow, you know. That way our sand kind of stays on our field. We always have an issue with everything wanting to blow, but you know, with flat, this field is very, very sandy, especially in the middle of the field. But this year we didn't have to do any sand fighting, so that was really nice. That saves a lot of headache from not having to sand fight. Gonna get here to this side of the layer and start back up again. We go. Every now and then I do have to shift over an inch or two just to keep it kind of centered. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I think that's just how it always will be. It'll never be perfect. But let's hope for a good day. Just about done here. Looks like there might be 8 rows left over, so it's not a perfect layer. It didn't come out perfectly because we each have one more pass on that side, and then there'll be 8 rows left over, and then we'll move to a 40 acre field, which that'll be fun because those little fields are always fun because they go by so quick. You barely start them, you make like 2 layers, and then the half star, then that circle's done. They're kind of fun. I like them. As we're driving to the next field, I'm gonna stop by this 120. Curious to see how dry it is or how wet it is. I'm pretty sure on this hill here it's gonna be pretty dry. Peanuts also didn't lap here by this hill, so I mean, yeah, it's gonna be pretty dry. That's rock hard. That's gonna be rough. But then as soon as you get like further onto the field, then it's gonna look a lot better. So probably should start on this field, or at least on this, do this hilly part here first. Probably would be an idea, because this next field that we were going to go to, the 40, that field is lapping and it's going to be a lot wetter than this. I mean, there's wet soil underneath, but man, is it hard. I don't like that. Yeah, that's going to be rough digging that. And, you know, some rocks, which should be fun. Yeah, here where there's not the hill, that's actually almost too wet. Yeah, look at all that. So yeah, it's gonna be terrible conditions. The hill over there is gonna be way too dry, and these areas here like this are gonna be way too wet. But I'm thinking we're gonna try on this field, and if it works, it's not too wet in the middle of the field, we might dig this half first, then we'll dig that 40 acres right there later. All right, let's try and see how dry it is. See if it'll actually work. Sad thing is, if it is too dry, we kind of have to stop way in advance, because if we do want to irrigate it one more time, then you don't really want to dig too much, because you don't really want to water over what you just barely dug. So we'll have to know really quickly if we want to continue going or not. But luckily it's just this little hill here. I mean, it's not even that big of a hill, but it's enough to where the water always wants to run further onto the field, and the outside here doesn't really get the water. So then the main field is very wet. Just here, the edge is kind of dry. Yeah, literally not even 100 yards and it already gets a lot wetter right here. So it looks like it's still dug just fine. I went a little slower, just didn't want to break anything. It was a little rough. The digger was shaking a little bit, but yeah, you can really see the dust slowly dissipating, like it's slowly going away. Might have to go, yeah, now I have to go a little shallower. Oh, now I'm probably doing too much dirt. I gotta go way shallower here, because over there I had to go deeper because I didn't want to go in the ground, and here it wants to go too far in the ground. So it's gonna be a little bit of adjustment this field. It's a little rough getting the peanuts out of the ground here by this hill where it's so dry, but other than that, it surprisingly works pretty good. It has its wet spots and it has its dry spots, this field, but I think we're gonna have to just continue digging this field first. The next two fields, they got a lot more vines on them, and I know they're a lot wetter, so we're definitely gonna wait with those, especially if this one's already so dry. In the high spots, waiting, well, I mean, technically we would finish all of it tomorrow, but I don't really want to wait one more day to dig out this one. Plus, you know, we'll still dig it, so even if we don't end up finishing it today, if there's issues or anything, we'll still be able to finish it tomorrow. So it shouldn't have dried too much by then. So right there is that 20-acre field, and it doesn't look like this layer we're gonna cut straight across. It might be the next one, because we did plant all the way through it because these fields are so close that they're actually touching. So we don't really want to drive around on the peanuts, so we're just going to dig straight through the whole field, go on to the next one. And as we're in circles, so it comes together here in the middle, comes apart right there. So it's not like it's everywhere, but we'll dig it all up and try to make the least, the smallest mess we can, so to say. Well, we just climbed out and double checked. I walked over there where I could see a row from where we had planted, and yes, it does match. So if we keep driving, this will just be perfectly matched up and we can just dig right across. This field is also a lot wetter, so we'll see how it digs compared to this field. Hopefully it won't be too big of a difference. It is all flat, so it should be relatively the same. Man, that sun sure is bright today. But this field sure digs a lot better than the other field. A little bit sandy. Still very, very wet underneath the ground, but as you can tell, we're kicking up a little bit of sand. I guess that top little layer is just ever so slightly dry. So that in my opinion is the perfect moisture. Tell you what though, digging this field is just constantly messing with everything. Because on that end of the field it's dry, on this end of the field it's dry, and then in the middle of the field it's wet. And I mean, it's flat ground. The flat ground doesn't seem to be bothering that much. Maybe if we have beds, it probably would help maybe a little bit, but regardless, different field, different soil conditions. It's different type of soil. It's not your typical red soil that we have everywhere else. So different conditions, different digging. It's getting a little frustrating at spots, but we're managing it, or we're making it work. Well, it's getting a little late. We're gonna call it quits for today. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, good morning. And we're gonna be back to it. Let's see if we can finish up here today. This 120 acre is done now. We now moved here to this 20 acre field, which we already did some on that side, so it's probably more like 15, 12 acres, give or take, so it shouldn't take but a little bit more than an hour, maybe an hour 30, and then this little field will be done. Then we got a 40 acre, and then we can move to the last field, and the last field is going to be a half section, 230 acres with mile long rows, so I'm looking forward to that field. I think that one's going to be quite fun. As you can tell, there are a couple of brown peanuts already. And that's because we tried here the other day. We made a couple of rounds and it was just still too wet, so we called it quit on this field and we started on a different one. So if you're wondering why it looks like we already dug some, yep, that's why. Well, not necessarily a breakdown, but code popped up. Actually happened, was it yesterday or the day before, I think? Code popped up, something with the def. It's always a def issue. It's can't ever just be something simple. But it might be something simple. According to the code, they're thinking it's just a bad sensor, but still some type of def sensor. Not sure what it is, but they're going to try replacing it and see if that fixes it. I mean, it's not that the tractor wasn't working. The tractor was working, it just didn't let you use all of its power. So yeah, let's hope whatever he's fixing fixes it. Yeah, even with one digger parked, it still isn't taking that long. I got what, maybe 2 passes there and 1 more pass right there, so this is gonna take maybe a couple more minutes and we'll be done here. Man, it feels good. I like it. That next field that we're gonna head off to today, yeah, we're gonna park the machines at the next field. It's 230 acres, it's half a section. We are actually very far ahead right now. The combines haven't been able to make really late days recently. They've been cut short by the humidity in the evening. So they're not making as much progress as what we are hoping for. So they're a little bit behind. So we don't necessarily need to dig this last field out right now. We're not in a hurry. So we're gonna wait till next week to dig it. We're sending the pivot around one more time right now. We're gonna water half an inch over it. It was a little bit dry. Gonna make it a little bit wetter. And then next week, as soon as the moisture in the ground is perfect, then we'll dig her up. And we are done. For now, that is. Do the last little bit here. And then as per usual, I'll clean off my digger. I'll get all the weeds off and everything else. All right. And probably do one final inspection before we head out to the last field. make sure everything works good, because today is Thursday, we got Friday, Saturday, we've got the whole weekend, maybe start digging maybe Tuesday, Wednesday. So we got quite a few days to fix anything on the digger, to any sort of maintenance. We got essentially a long maintenance break now, which is nice, but I'm hoping there isn't anything wrong. So I'm gonna do my routine check, make sure all the bearings and everything is good, all my discs and everything is good. And once I got all that done, digger's cleaned off, we'll head to the next field and park them for a while. Digger's cleaned off, we're ready to move. And perfect timing as well. Looks like they got his tractor fixed, or at least it looks like it. I tried asking him, he didn't respond, so I'm assuming they fixed the tractor. Before we head all the way out there, we're just gonna stop by the barn, top off on fuel and DEF. That's already on. Guess he might have left it on for me then. Take that guy on. And that switches back here. Off we go. And this right here is where the tractors will park for a few days. All right, diggers. Until next week. Thanks for watching, everybody.